everybody. Douglas Block here at, what is it? It's the last day of January. It's noon. It's Pacific Standard Time. It's noon Pacific Standard Time, January 31st, 2018, back on live stream here at our normal weekly, actually bi-weekly, every Sunday and Wednesday at 12 o'clock. OG, nice to hear from you. Hey, DB, saying hello to the other DB. Well, never ever are you on. It says, hey, thank you, I won't miss this time. So far, it looks like nobody's watching. Impossible, people are signing on. Must be a little delay we have in the YouTube thing. Anyway, I wanted to talk about how's the sound, you guys, let me know. I wanted to talk about, hey, N to F from Ireland, of course. Nice to hear from you. Last day of January. Boy, that first month went really quickly. We're having some rocky financial times here in the US with the stock market, but oh well. Never ever, you are here. Okay, you made it. Why did Waldo go into therapy? He wanted to find himself. Okay, I'm not quite sure what the joke is, but you can maybe let me know. Why did Waldo get into therapy? Well, there must be something about the name Waldo, I'm assuming. So anyway, here we are, and ready to talk about anything you want about therapy, psychotherapy, recovery from depression. I do have a video I published on Monday called One Reason Never to Give Up. And that is, of course, because nothing stays the same forever. Yesterday, January 30th, was the 2-year anniversary of my being discharged from the psychiatric hospital here at St. Vincent's in Portland, Oregon, where I got 8 rounds of ECT treatments, electroconvulsive therapy, sometimes people call it electric shock therapy. And yeah, I don't know, I was completely down as far as you can go. I mean, suicidal, you've all been there, suicidal depression, no hope. And yet, 2 years later, you know, here I am still kicking and screaming, functioning anyway. So during World War II, Winston Churchill was fighting on 2 fronts. You know who Winston Churchill is, right? Prime Minister of England. He was trying to stop the Nazis, but he was also trying to deal with his own depression, which he called the black dog. So he came up with this phrase, when going through hell, keep going, because he had 2 hells. One was World War II, the Nazis, one was his own depression. So I heard that about 20, 30 years ago, and I thought, well, I like I like a twist. I want to put a twist on that phrase, call it when going through hell, don't stop. And hey, Cade, nice to see you again. And sure enough, Jacob Hamilton, hey, what does SATX mean, Jacob? You and I just conversed on Facebook Messenger. I hope you get to my Patreon page. This is the last day of the month, and anybody who signs up for the last day will get a free copy of my ebook, When Going Through Hell, Don't Stop, no matter how much they contribute. Here's the book that basically Winston Churchill kind of helped title, because he used to say, when going through hell, keep going. And actually it wasn't me, it was a minister friend of mine who said, when going through hell, don't stop. Truer words have never been spoken. SATX, San Antonio, Texas. Well, guess what? One of my favorite people named Paul, who's a member of my Tuesday group, grew up in San Antonio. Well, you know, the San Antonio Spurs are not a bad basketball team, and I've spoken there many times. Alex Rozondanu, you look a little like Einstein. Yes, I do. Reading from Romania. Well, guess what, Alex? My mother comes from Romania, or she used to come. My grandparents were Romanian immigrants to the United States at the turn of the century, the previous century, not this century. And my mother was born here in 1917, the daughter of Romanian immigrants, and so I'm half Romanian. Should I go there? Maybe. See the sights? Maybe you can tell me, show me around. Anyway, it's Wednesday. It's our live chat. We're about 4.5 minutes into it. Please ask questions. Tana Gilbertson, how are you doing today? I'm doing all right. Have I heard from you yet? Do we know who you are? Have you been on this live chat? Time for a joke, of course. Coming from last week, 2 weeks ago, what was his name? I forget his name. One Jeff or something like that. Anyway, why did the witch not wear a pointed hat? Okay, I've given away the punchline. Okay, let's find something else. The joke was, why did the witch not wear a flat hat? There was no point in it. That's much better. So, I got something down here in my book, my little red book of jokes. Just have to look it up. A squirrel goes into a doctor's office. Doctor says, "Why are you here?" The squirrel says, "Well, have you heard of the phrase, 'you are what you eat'?" The doctor says, "Yes." The squirrel says, "Well, if that's true, then I'm nuts." Might have told that before. Yes, I've been one of these previously. Well, Tana, there's so many people who are here, I can't keep track of anybody. Welcome today. Nice to hear from you, Douglas Barnes. Reminder, the wife died November 21st, lost job on January 8th, stepmother died on the 20th, one to adult children alcoholics twice this week, now experiencing nightmares. Ever heard of this as a side effect of what? I've heard of nightmares as a side effect of trauma. Yeah, if your wife and your stepmother died within 2 months of each other, I mean, that is like, come on, that's, Teddy Roosevelt had that happen. His wife and his mother died on the same day. He got so depressed, he went to the Black Hills of South Dakota and went into went into retreat, went into mourning until he came back and became governor of New York. So grief, loss of love, the number one cause of depression. I have a video on it. It's very popular. I see it again and again and again. A new member joined our depression support group. He was very depressed, moved in with a woman. They became very close. Within 30 days, his depression turned around. He was enthusiastic about life. Then they split up, and then he's down in the dumps. What could be more simple than we are human beings who need connection and family, and so when we lose people we love, anybody close to us, our brain goes wild. I don't think nightmares would be okay, so Douglas Barnes wants to know, are nightmares a side effect of adult children of alcoholic therapy? Well, the only way they could be a side effect, Douglas Barnes, is if you talked about something or heard something that triggered you into something in your past, maybe some loss or abuse in your past. That could be why the nightmares are coming. Otherwise, it could be a symptom of the depression you're having because of your loss. I don't think adult children of alcoholics meetings cause nightmares in and of themselves. What are the nightmares about? You might want to write them down and process them. I hope you're seeing a good psychotherapist. I'm Jacob Hamilton. I'm glad you like the joke about the squirrels. You've been up all night, so kind of numb. So what's going on, Never? How's your sleeping? I recommended a medication to one of my new clients called amitriptyline. Essentially, it's a medication that is used for depression, but in small doses it helps sleep. I've been taking it for about 25 years, so you can't beat that. Douglas Barnes, I hope I answered your question. Tana, do you have any questions today? What about Alex? What about Jacob? What about Cade? Shoot. Prazosin is good for nightmares. Prazosin. I've never heard of it. I'll have to look it up. I know that one of my good friends and clients was having nightmares, and the psychiatrist prescribed a specific medication for her that deals with nightmares. Do you sleep all through the night, Douglas? No, I wake up. I'm an old man, Edna. I'm an old man. I have, prostate issues, so I have to go up and go pee like 2 or 3 times during the night. But then God bless, thank you, God, thank you, Spirit, I get back to sleep. Last night I had to take an Ambien. I was nervous, and an Ambien is a sleep medication. I took 1/2 of one, like 2.5 milligrams, hardly anything, but it helped. Have you ever tried Zoloft for obsessive thoughts? Says Alex from Romania. I have not, but many people have. Although a better medication than Zoloft, I'll type it right here, is called LUVOX. It's specifically, whoops, I have to get into the, what am I doing? I have to get into the Douglas Block chat button here. Hold on, it says Douglas Block say something. There we go. LUVOX. Try that out, Alex. Ask your doctor about it. Go look it up on Wikipedia. It is specifically prescribed for obsessive thoughts. 2 of my clients have been using it for years. It's been amazingly helpful. OG, I'm planning to go off an antipsychotic medication under close supervision from my provider. I may experience some side effects and some schizoaffective. I also hope I feel better with that. Well, my godson is schizoaffective, OG, and he's weaned down from some of his antipsychotics. It's fine. I don't think he's ever gone off them. He went off one of them, Zyprexa, no problem. So there's a guy named Will Hall. Can I type that in? He's an amazing person. He has a guide he's written. Let me see if I can get here. Yes, his name is Will Hall, OG. He has a harm reduction guide to coming off antipsychotic medications. Please look him up in the internet. He's from Portland. He's written the definitive guide about how to do that. Show that to your supervisor. I think that will be immensely helpful to you. Will Hall. Douglas, were you completely free of anxiety and depression when you came out of the 1996 episode? Kevin McCourt from Ireland. Are you back in school? Let me see if I have my little Patreon thing I can put here. Probably not. Nope. Not going to happen. Yeah, so to answer your question, Kevin McCourt, yes. When I came out of my 1996-97 depressive episode and was healed through the power of love, through a prayer group at the Living Enrichment Center, my symptoms were gone. I mean, G-O-N-E, fini. And a miracle, yes. However, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 depressive episodes, and in between them, the anxiety and depression, especially the anxiety, usually goes away. So it's not uncommon for that to happen for me. So I do get these respites in between hell. You know, you go to hell for some vacations, and remember, when going through hell, don't stop. Will Hull reads his harm reduction guide on podcast called Madness Radio. Cade, you are an amazing resource. Cade, what else is on Madness Radio? I don't know, the word madness is kind of not exactly the nicest way to talk about mental illness, but I guess it does for some people. So yes, Kevin, did I answer your question? And again, Lou Vox for Obsessive Thoughts. Alex, look that up, please. It's nice to hear Will Hull read his book, but you can listen to him speak it, but it's so simple. I think reading it, you can go through a lot faster. So, but if you're an audio learner, then get the podcast. So, OG, check this guy out, please, will you? Okay. Now I'm actually going to type in www.patreon.com. Yes, OG, just go there and look for my name. OG, a couple of live chats ago, went ahead and went to Patreon, became a sponsor. Thank you so much. Every bit helps. We have 52 sponsors. We're trying to get to 75 by the beginning of June. Slow but steady. Harry Edwards. Harry Edwards is a famous sociology professor at Berkeley, but you're not the same Harry Edwards. Good evening, Douglas. You're obviously from the UK. How did you judge when to go to the hospital, and how can anybody judge when they need to be hospitalized? That is an excellent question. I have a series of videos on this very channel called Life in... Oh God, hold on. I should use what do you call it? The voice technology. ATSYCHIATRIC. I'll have to try that. WARD. It's called Life in a Psychiatric Ward. They have part 1, part 2, and part 3. So the answer is, you go into a psychiatric ward for one of two reasons. One is you're suicidal and you're not safe. And the other is you're so disabled by depression that you can't function and take care of yourself. I went for the former. So people should go to the hospital when there's a third reason, Harry Edwards, and that's when they need a medication change under supervision. So suicidal, can't function, medication change, 3 reasons. Never ever, I just don't feel the need to sleep sometime, but you know what they've discovered in recent research? Sleep is more important than food and exercise. So it's really important for people with mood disorders like us to get the right amount of sleep and to do it on a regular basis. Go to sleep at the same time every night, wake up at approximately the same time every morning. It's called sleep hygiene. We all need sleep hygiene, and so never ever. Do you think you might be able to do that and try to, regulate your times? We're 15 minutes into the hour. Thanks for everybody being here. David Starkweather, nice to see you again. Kevin, what do you think you're doing to make your symptoms worse? Did I say my symptoms were getting worse? I had some situational depression yesterday. Some investments of mine didn't do very well in the market, but I don't think I'm doing anything to make my situation worse. And maybe I said something to mislead you. And did you make any friends there among the staff or the patients? In my 82, 83 episode I did, I became friendly with people. Actually, there's one woman who used to walk around the halls with me. We've been out of touch. I've been meaning to get a hold of her. She was her name was Catherine, and she could be a potential friend. I probably not. It's been so long since I've been in the hospital. It's been 2 years, but I certainly did feel connected to some staff and to some of the patients while I was there. So I was friends while I was there, but after I left the hospital, I didn't really continue the relationship. Although I know some people back in the East Coast, some people I coached with went into the psychiatric ward and still maintain contact with some of those people as a support. David Starkweather was addressing this to Kevin, okay? And when he said, Kevin, what are you doing to make your symptoms work? I can't even read, David. You didn't mention my name, you and Kevin. So, thank you, David, for clarifying that. I'm sorry I didn't even read your question correctly. Kevin McCourt from Ireland says, I'm going to the hospital next week due to my symptoms worsening, and yes, you answered my question. Well, Kevin McCourt, have you been in the hospital before? Let me know, one. And number two, if you did go, how did it fare? Did it help you? And number three, are you going in this hospital under the supervision of a psychiatrist? Are you just going to walk to the emergency room? Or is it something that's planned? The first hospital I went to at St. Vincent's in 1996, my psychiatrist, actually it was Pacific Gateway, my psychiatrist called in. It was all arranged. I walked in the door, big welcome party. Hello, Douglas, you're here in the psych ward. God, we've been expecting you. You're going to have a great time. No, that didn't really happen, but I was scheduled to go there. Kevin McCourt says, I'm doing everything I feel right. I keep a routine, exercise done, socializing. Oh my God, but I'm going downhill. Isn't that horrible? Folks, when you're doing the right things and your brain still doesn't cooperate, that really sucks big time. But Kevin, remember, when going through hell, don't stop. Free coffee if you become a Patreon member. Kevin, have you ever tried electroconvulsive therapy, also known as ECT? I know it's very controversial, but in the beginning of 2016, I was just like you. I was doing everything I could. I was still getting worse, and so ECT basically rebooted my brain. So let me know if that's something that the psychiatrist has suggested, if you've thought about it. There's also something called TMS you can also do outpatient, which can help. But I don't know if it's in Ireland how accessible these treatments are. Harry Edwards says, when do you know it's time to try new medication? I'm always afraid I'm being too hasty. Well, are you on a medication now? You're supposed to give it 4 to 6 weeks and see what happens. If you see a mild improvement, even if it's that much, stay on it. If 6 weeks to 8 weeks go by and there's nothing changing, then you can try a new medication because it is trial and error. Hello, I'm Greg, my favorite person from Philadelphia. Hello, I'm Greg at gmail.com. Has a support group going for you guys when I'm not here. I think he's got about 8 members now. One of my new coaching clients joined up, and it's a tremendous service. Please, he'll give you his email and connect with him if you want to meet with some of the people on these live chats, not just on Sunday and Wednesday, but other times. Greg, how often is your group meeting? Has it started yet? How many people are in it? I want the details, Greg. Just the facts, Greg, just the facts. Never Ever says they don't help when you want to socialize. I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, Never Ever. The last time we communicated, you mentioned that you had not gone to sleep at regular hours, but I'm not quite sure what else you mean. Maybe you could clarify when you say they never help. That would be great. And there's Greg's email. Unless you're willing to accept the memory loss from ECT, I'd say stay away from it. Absolute last option in my book. Well, David Starkworth, have you ever had ECT? I've had it. My mother had it 5 times. I can tell you there was no memory loss whatsoever for me, except while I was in the hospital getting it, I forgot some of the people who visited me. But before, I can remember everything to the moment I went in, everything from the moment I came out. After all, it was 2 years ago yesterday I came out. I remember exactly my state. It was a Saturday afternoon. By Wednesday, I had joined the outpatient program in Providence. And by the end of the week, I was feeling, much, much better. So yes, there is a risk with ECT. You're absolutely right. But when you're suicidal and nothing is working, I think that, the potential costs are worth the potential benefits. So, but it is a method of last resort. There, I agree with you. Hello, Greg. It says no set day of yet. It's been a free-flowing chat when people can So do they chat? Do they chat with you? Hello, I'm Greg, or do they chat with each other? I'm not quite sure how you set it up. And how do you go use Google Hangouts? How do you get people chatting? Julie Hayes, oh my goodness, wow, you're here. You sent me an email. I haven't read it. Julie Hayes, would you like to move to Portland and be my secretary? I'm joking, of course, but I do need a secretary. I have all these emails sent by people from all over the planet, asking me for advice, for help, to cure them, etc. And I can't get to all of them, so it's nice to see you here. Tobias Douglas, what do you feel about running for depression, as in depression, the risk of obsessionality? I know what running for depression means, but people who are depressed do get obsessed. I'm coughing. I need some water. Julie Hayes, every time she gets on, I got to show you guys this. And still I rise. Sorry. It's cold in my office. I need to put on a jacket. I need to turn on the heater, but that would probably be distracting to you guys. A chilly day in Oregon today. Anyway, yes, Julie, I always look at that picture you send me every day that you created. Rising from the Phoenix is the metaphor. I share that with all my group members and clients because that's what does happen. Psych wards don't help. Have you been in them? They at least sometimes chill you out when you're really a danger to yourself. But thank you, Greg. You don't need to respond to my email. I just watched You Can Be Restored video. Interesting. Again, and did that help? Because that's the moral of the story. Linda Stokes says, a big Alabama hello to you. I caught you live again. Yay. Hey, Linda Stokes, why does the Alabama college football team win again and again? Maybe there's a joke here. It's through the app Telegram, so it's much like chat here minus the video. Wow. I'll have to look into the app. Do you just download it to the store? Well, Julie, you were having a bad day, but guess what? Bad days are replaced by good days. Kevin McCord says, is there anyone who doesn't get restored? I have seen cases with chronic schizophrenia, a horrible thought disorder where people are living group homes the rest of their lives. But as far as depression, Kevin McCord, I have never seen a person yet who wasn't restored, at least, out of the extreme pain that depression can bring. At least restored enough to function, go about their daily living. Hey, they're not happy campers. I have a new video I'm recording tomorrow about happiness and depression. 50% of your happiness level, 50%, 50, is determined by your genes. So there are naturally born pessimists and there are naturally born optimists. Like, people who are always happy-go-lucky. Don't you hate them? So, everybody on this channel, including me, has a pessimistic temperament. However, 40% of what's remaining is under your control, which means by doing activities, changing the way you think, exercise, sleep, even medication, you can raise your happiness quotient, even if you came out of the womb somewhat depressed. So Kevin, yes, I do think there's improvement for everybody. Amy, how do you spell your last name? It's C-H-K-R. Is that short for chakra? Let me know. But it says, hello, Greg, you can download it or use the web version, okay? It's called App Telegram. I'll remember that. David Starkweather says, psych wards can help at least keep you from killing yourself until you have enough time, until enough time passes. That's absolutely right. But never ever has not found any help in psych wards. I agree. There's no place where you get cured. Never ever is right. But they are temporary holding patterns when you're in an acute state or a state of emergency. What does help is a combination, as what I said, setting the intention to heal, reach out for support, and use a combination of mutual supportive therapies to cure your symptoms. Never ever, if you go to this channel and you type in the 3 steps of mental health recovery, that video will come out that will show you what I know about mental health recovery. And you can do the same thing, Kevin McCord. I know you've struggled, but you're still so young, my goodness. There is plenty of time. Somebody said if you get genetic testing, you can find out what type of mutations you have and what type of antidepressants might be right for you. That's worth exploring. Kevin, I guess you probably haven't had ECT, and TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, is another thing. Mike 1, good to see you, Doug. Drop some wisdom on us. Well, here it is. Here's my wisdom for today. When going through hell, don't stop. Because, you know what it says in the 23rd Psalm for you people who like to read the Bible? Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. The person in the book of Psalms doesn't say I pitch my tent there, or I take a 2-year vacation in the valley of the shadow of death. Though I walk through it, meaning going through it, meaning you go through the darkness and come out the other side. So that's why that psalm is absolutely correct. So I don't know what to say, Kevin. All I know is I struggled with depression throughout my 20s. It's a bummer. But as you get older, it usually burns out. So don't give up, please. Don't give up. Never give up, Kevin McCord. Maybe you'll find something in the hospital that helps. According to Julia Hayes, people with a certain mutation have an increase in depression. Is that true? Let me know. Jacob from San Antonio, I have low testosterone. I get anxiety attacks. I follow your friend Noah. Treatment seems to help. What do you think? Well, people who have low testosterone, truly low testosterone, can suffer from depression. So raising your testosterone level can help. Everything is trial and error. Give it a try and see what happens. I'm going to try a piece of gum is what I'm going to try. So people don't understand that you like to be alone. Never ever. Well, if you do, if that's what makes you feel good or that's your preference, that's fine. I'm a believer in living, letting live. But if you're suffering, for most people, reaching out to others is helpful. But everybody's got their own path. Craig Haylett, I haven't heard from you. I've had no anxiety or depression, says Craig Haylett, for 6 days. I've been using good old affirmations, repeating them throughout the day. It's important to desist even when you feel low. Well, Craig, why don't you go to this website, www.affirmationsheal.com. Go to that website and you'll see dozens and dozens and dozens of affirmations. So, Kevin, I like the idea of never giving up, but I don't want to live life with such struggles. Well, Julie Hayes says, how long have you been going through this? You look like a very consoling Bob Ross. Also, you could just, whatever it is, call me Eli. I prefer to be anonymous, but I'm just going to be honest here. Okay. E-L-A-I. Is that Eli? Is that how you pronounce your name? Jay Bird. Hey, Doug, have you had any clients come out of depression, anxiety, using TMS? Yes. What about ketamine infusions? They work temporarily. I haven't met anybody who's gotten long-term relief, but yeah, the ketamine stuff is really helpful. The TMS. So yes, I highly recommend TMS, definitely. I know I missed some. I know I missed some questions, but how do I scroll down? There we go. Okay, you have to use your fingers on this thing. Okay. Julie Hayes says, I'll send you the information on the MTHFR gene. Please do. Kevin McCourt says, I felt fine until last July, and then boom, anxiety and depression hit. Well, that's really too bad. TMS, yes, Jaybird, people have come out. So, Kevin McCourt, keep struggling. Don't give up. It's only been since last July. Now that seems like in a million years, but you know, you will get better. I promise you. David says, Julie, when I read MTHFR, I can't help but see nasty curse words. Is there something wrong with my mind? Oh, no, 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 David Starkweather. It sort of suggests itself. I have no idea why they call the gene that name. Someone should change it. So, no, you don't have a dirty mind. Don't worry about it. Douglas, what do you think about self-harm? Well, I highly recommend it. No, I don't. It's a joke. Self-harm is a usually expression when people are in a lot of pain. They often will cut themselves. The physical pain helps them feel less emotional pain. I understand it. I used to hit myself in the head. I understand the psychology and the physiology, but obviously there are much better ways to help yourself. Do you consider alcoholism, drug abuse, or self-sabotage to be all self-harm? Yes, in different ways. Certainly alcoholism and drug abuse. Oh my God, major self-harm. Self-sabotage, yeah, not in the same way of, when people talk about self-harm and mental health, they usually mean people cutting themselves, burning themselves, doing physical things to their body. Well, of course, alcoholism and drug abuse, you're messing up your body with substances. Cade, so you've been going through this 7 months. Never ever says I'm 10 points low on low T, so never ever. Why don't you get some testosterone infusions or hormones like my friend Noah, who it seems to be helpful for him. Maybe that would make a difference, See what the medical doctor in your area says. June Hay says, I know that isn't funny about the gene looking at a swear word. I can't say on this. Yeah, well, you should talk to the people who named it. David Starkweather says, Kate, I recently found Eckhart Tolle's books to be wonderful, along with Doug's advice, of course. For those of you who don't know, Eckhart Tolle is a master spiritual teacher of our age. He wrote a book called The Power of Now. He must be on infinite amount of YouTube interviews. And by the way, nobody's been complaining about the sound, so it must be okay, right? It seems a little low on my end, but if you can hear it, that's all I'm worried about. Julie Hayes says, I'm going on 5 months, Kevin. I know it seems like forever. Yes, when you're seriously depressed, a day seems like forever. So people who get through depression have to be congratulated. It's very hard. When I was envying this woman who I met at a party who went to Harvard and got a professorship, I was always wanting to be a professor. And she asked me what I did. I said, I'm going to day treatment. I'm on Social Security. She said, you're a real loser. She didn't say that. She just gave me the look like you're a real loser. My therapist said, no, you're not a loser. Getting out of bed each day in the state you're in and surviving is much more difficult than being a professor. Give yourself some credit. Everybody on this channel, especially Julie, Never Ever, Kevin McCord, give yourself some credit. The fact you're surviving and you're keeping on, you're keeping up with the struggle. You're amazingly strong, courageous people, and everybody else who is on this channel right now will say the same to all of you. Minecraft Mayhem, why you're not a kid? I don't know. Okay, so there it is. Methylene. Okay, so it's Julie Hayes, MTFR as a synonym for methyl N-nitrohydrofolate. Okay, they still should find a different abbreviation. Kevin McCourt says, if someone's depression or anxiety is quite mild, does that indicate that it's not an episode? Yeah, it's called dysthymia. Dysthymia, D-Y-S-T-H-Y-M-I-A, is a lifelong chronic depression that is mild. It does not disable a person, but it really keeps them in the gray zone. They can't experience tremendous joy, but it's not going to interfere. With their life. They can work. They can get married. They can have children. They can volunteer. They can do lots of things. They just feel like they've got the sniffles or a low-grade fever. Amy Chakra. Oh, I've been thinking about how the body heals itself. We should just give its time. I no need to hide my symptoms of anxiety, depression, because I something too will find new ways to pop up better, not resist. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that meant. Kevin McCourt, looking at the clock in the morning gives me a panic attack when I see all the hours in the day. Well, maybe you should just not look at the clock. That might be a good thing. Choose not to look at it. You know, Kevin, if you get anxious in the morning, why don't you get out and walk around the block, take a run, go to a swimming pool, swim until you drop, do something really intensely physical. That used to help me. I'm out of here, Hershey. All right. Talk to you later. NF, Kevin, is awful, but you will get over it. 5 minutes used to feel like hours. And that's a phrase from Alcoholics Anonymous. Don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. And why don't you and Kevin are both from Ireland, I believe. Why don't you exchange emails or phone numbers and text each other? You guys probably live in the same country. You might even live close. Enda, you're a very compassionate person. And I think you could really be of support to Kevin. So I encourage you, the two of you, to, get connected in some way. Linda Stokes from Alabama. My mom said I was born with anxiety. I can't remember being depressed until I was a teenager. Well, that's when teenageship, sometimes happens. But there are people who are born anxious. There are people who are born depressed. So there you have it. There's your temperament. So that's the cards you were dealt with. But to use the cliche, how do you play that deck? How do you play those cards? That's where the choice comes. Viktor Frankl in the concentration camps says the last of the human freedoms is the ability to choose your attitude in any given situation. That's where freedom comes from, not what happens to you. We can't control what happens to us. We can always choose our attitude and how we will respond. And that's the great discovery that Viktor Frankl made in the concentration camps. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning, which I highly, highly, highly recommend. N to F says, did you give him an email? Are you referring to Kevin? I do have Kevin's email. That's absolutely right. If Kevin gives permission, I will send his email to you, Enda, assuming I get your email. I can actually email you, both of you, through the Patreon thing, because you both have donated to Patreon. So, Kevin, if you want to have me give Enda your email or vice versa, let me know. I will email both of you and connect you guys up so you can support each other. Linda, I doubt you were born that way. Awfully pessimistic outlook to take somewhere you learned it. It's more helpful to think you can unlearn it. Well, it's true, but my mother fell down the stairs when she was pregnant. She had a lot of fear. I was born high-strung. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Now, David Starkweather, just because you are born high-strung doesn't mean you can't modify it or change it. So whether you learn the anxiety, whether you're born with it, it really doesn't matter. Here's the key, everybody. What are you going to do about it now in the present tense? The point of power is in the present. What are you going to do right now to essentially, change the anxiety and depression? Because even if you're born that way, even if you learned it at the age of 1, you've got it. So that's the choice we have. Here is Raj Manduban from New Delhi. What time is it in New Delhi? It's got to be at least after midnight, right? What time is it there? You must be up late. Never ever says my whole family has depression and agoraphobia. Well, there you have it. You were dealt, a difficult hand. It's, it is in your genes. It is in your inheritance. But can you modify things? There's a book. I'm going to do a video on this book. Everybody remember this book. It's called The Brain That Changes Itself. The brain is what's called plastic. It can be modified. It can grow new cells. It can rewire itself. The past is not the future. Genetics is not destiny. I'm going to say that one more time. Genetics is not destiny. The genes, even if you have them, even if you have the bad genes, they still have to be turned on or off like a switch. And you can control whether those genes are turned on and off by the behaviors you do, the thoughts you think, the people you hang out with, and the prayers you pray. So remember, genetics is not destiny. I'm going to write this down right here. It's too important. If I can find what says say something. GENETICH is not DESTINY. Take a look at that. Whoops. Boy, is that horrible. Is that horrible writing? Well, it means to say genetics is not destiny. It's midnight. I'm not able to sleep. Well, Raj, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 sleep medications you can take that are non-addictive. Do you have a prescriber? Why don't you send me and email me? Here, Raj, send something to this email, douglasblog@gmail.com. I will email you the name of 5 or 6 medications, antidepressants that are non-addictive that will help you sleep. You got to sleep, Raj. This is really something that's going to create problems long term if you don't get on a good sleep cycle. Just stay awake. Never resist insomnia. Well, you should, but you should also try to take things that help you go to sleep. Maybe don't lie in bed and obsess about it, but at some point, just blame typos and autocorrect. Autocorrect is my worst enemy, believe it. Harry Edwards, Douglas, did your insomnia ever change during your episodes? Months ago, I used to, if I can read this here, wake up in the middle of the night, in the small of the night, 1, 2 a.m., but now I can wake up around 4 to 5 a.m. Harry Edwards, absolutely yes. 1983, I was in the hospital for 1 month. While I was in the hospital, I learned how to sleep. I'd had insomnia, getting up, going to bed at 11, getting up at 1, pacing back and forth. But in New York hospital, I got my sleep back. And I was still depressed when I went out. I was still feeling hopeless, but at least I was sleeping through the night. And also earlier in another episode, someone gave me something called Mellaril. It's an old antipsychotic. I slept like a baby from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. I still woke up suicidal. But yes, during an episode, your sleep patterns can change and do change. Rad Modvan says, thank you. David Starkweather, I've never had problems with sleep. At my worst, I could sleep all day. I'd sleep all day and all night if I could. Well, one of the symptoms of depression is hypersomnia, too much sleep. So that can happen. With depression, you could want to sleep all the time as a way of escaping. OG, can mania sometimes result from stopping one med, such as an antipsychotic, even when I'm taking lithium for bipolar? Well, yes, because a lot of antipsychotics, OG, have mood stabilizing properties, like Abilify, like Seroquel. Most of them do. So yes. Have you stopped taking an antipsychotic? Do you feel manic? If so, call your prescriber ASAP. See about going back on it, or introducing something else. Enda F says, not sleeping a lot worse than sleeping too much. Speaking from experience. Okay, there's your experience. Well, hello, I'm Greg. I only get OCD when I touch something gross. Then everything I touch, I constantly worry about. That is getting on that object too, like the keyboard. I can't get rid of feeling my finger. Well, I hope you just stop touching things gross, or just tell yourself it's okay. I can resist the germs. I have a good immune system. Kevin McCord, does anyone else have a fear of living due to their anxiety and depression? Good question. Other than Luvox, what can I do? Get a book called Brain Lock. It will help you to refocus your mind and not obsess so much, by Jeffrey Schwartz. Yes, Julie Hayes is right. Remeron is one of the medications. Remember, Raj, go ahead and send me an email, douglasblog@gmail.com. I'll send you one of the medications I will send you is Remeron, which is what Julie Hayes wrote right below. Okay, so for Greg, here's a book you should get at a library, or go on Amazon. You can get it for about $10, except I have to get in the say something mode. Okay, BRAIN. It's a great book, Greg. Brain Lock by Jeffrey Schwartz. It will teach you how to stop obsessing and redirect your mind. Did you see the super blue moon this morning, Doug? Oh, I wish I could have, but it is Oregon. It is January. It is the winter. It is cloudy. It is overcast. But I've seen pictures of it. Who asked me that question? OG, where do you live? You must live where there's more sunshine than Oregon. Kevin McCord, Doug, how did you come out of your depressive episode in the 80s? I got accepted to social work school in Portland, Oregon, which is why I moved here in 83. Going back to school in my early days of the 20s and 30s is what got me out of my depressive episode. Having something to focus on, getting some structure and getting some connection. So that's what did it. What about you, Kevin? You dropped out of college. Can you get like a part-time job or something? Or what about going to an outpatient program? There must be outpatient programs in Oregon. That's what helped me when I got out of the hospital in 2016. 6 days a week, 9:30 to 3:30. Essentially, like having a job, but being around people, learning lots of new skills, being around compassionate therapists, free psychiatrists. See if you can find an outpatient program. I'll check it out. You definitely should check out BrainLock. David Starkweather, by the way, where do you live? I'm curious. And would you like to contribute to my Patreon account? I kind of admire their devotion to cleaning. I've never had the energy to be OCT. Wish I had that kind of energy. Well, you don't, because you can't, when you have OCT and you're devoted to cleaning, you can't use the energy for something else you might want to do. You're a slave to the energy. So, bye-bye. Time for my massage. Ah, yes, Linda Stokes. That's good self-care. David, you're funny. Yes. Never that can be turned around. You have forever to be dead, so you might as well stick around till your time is nigh. Yeah, a good point, David. But you understand what I'm saying? Never ever. Besides, it is only so never ever says, why does everybody fight to stay alive? It's only a matter of time anyway before you die. Absolutely. But the hope is that if you fight to stay alive, something will get better and you'll be able to have some joy. I agree with you. If all your life is suffering, there's nothing else but suffering, it's pain 24/7, yeah, maybe life isn't worth living. But even in the midst of my depressive episode, 96, 97, there were moments when I saw sunset or someone smiled at me or I could focus on a TV show for 5 minutes. There were moments of escape from the pain, moments of respite. I never ever... it's definitely, see if you can find those moments. Julia Hayes says, it sucks, I'm obsessed with my depression. Well, you might want to read BrainLock and see how you cannot be obsessed. It's one thing to be depressed, it's another thing to be thinking about it and ruminating about it. So I have Julia Hayes, I have a video called How to Stop Ruminating. Look at that video, it's very popular, about 40,000 views. Maybe it'll give you some clues. Yeah, and this fish oil help for depression, says JKK. Is the Pope Catholic? Yes, fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids, which you could get in salmon, sardines, flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. Helps with the myelin sheath of the brain and helps with depression. You should either eat fish or fish oil or other sources of omega-3s like walnuts. Okay, Peter Lund says, hi Douglas. Jean Pierre says, I'm not afraid of death. Oh, I hope so. I won't be bored with life. Well, I think what you mean is I'm not afraid of death. Well, great, some people are. I'm scared. I'm scared of death. That's why I didn't take my life during 96, 97. The fear of death is a natural part of our survival instinct, but some people are less scared of it than others, and we're all different. Peter Lund says, hi Douglas, omega-3 helps. Julie Weiss. My best friend is Julie Weiss, so that's why I keep calling you Julie Weiss. Omega-3s really do help, that's right. Once again, if you go to the Patreon page and you type in Douglas Block, you'll go to my page, and we're for as little as $2 a month. Speaking of which, we haven't had anybody donate on live chat today. Usually Cade is, or don't want to put you on the spot, Cade, you might not even be here, but usually somebody comes up with a buck or two. Boosts my morale. After all, I give myself free time, 2 hours a week to you guys. Normally it's $100 an hour when I coach people, or when I tutor people, it's $60 an hour. So I'm doing this because it's my mission, obviously, but it does help. Julie Hayes, you're a mensch. You know what that means in Yiddish? You're a person. Always great to hear from you. I'm glad your bad day has passed. I hope you continue to feel better. And you read BrainLock, and remember, when you think about your depression, think about something else. Arcade Cup, is there a test for PTSD? Yes. Hey, from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yes, go to the DMS4 or type in Google criteria for PTSD. There's very specific criteria. It's not a blood test, but you should have take from the library a copy of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manuals for Mental Disorder, DSM-5. Take that out from the library and look it up. Gina Piera, I have borderline personality disorder. It sucks. Well, it does, but there's a treatment for that, and that is called DBT. You immediately should go to your nearest DBT program, dialectical behavioral therapist. That was specifically designed to treat borderline personality disorder, and it's been very successful. Don't you get taxed real high on Super Chat? You mean when people contribute? Yeah, well, Google takes a huge chunk out of it. That's right. They take about 25% out of what I get. So if you give me $5, they get, $1.25. So yes, it's not a tax. It's just Google's share. But, if anybody ever wanted to send money to me in any substantial way, you do it using PayPal, and PayPal is free. Hello, I'm Greg says, recommend fidget sponsors for OCD. Fidget spinners, excuse me. Too much time around alcoholics. My friend told me it will transfer the energy, so to speak. Well, yeah, it sounds, take all that compulsive energy and do it with your hands. I'll look it up on the website. Okay, sorry, Doug, but I'm going to bet on my phone, otherwise I'll give you a donation. Can somebody give Doug's account a boost? Yes, well, thank you. Oops, an Arcade Cup gave $1. There you have it. Seeking you shall find. So, Kate, are you in bed because you are in the UK and it's late? Or it's actually not late. It's only 9 o'clock. Are you in bed because you're depressed or you're sick? I'd like to know why you're in bed. Hopes, I don't know how to reply to people on here, says Harry Ward. Just type something in. Just say, Harry, so-and-so, in answer to your question. At David Starkweather, I've heard some really worrying things about psychiatric medication. I'm not sure whether to believe it or not. So, no, you did a beautiful thing, Harry. And the answer is all psychiatric medications have side effects. There's a way of minimizing them. It depends on the person. My feeling is, from what I've seen in 17 years of treating people, is that the costs are usually less than the potential benefits, but you got to know what you're doing. So, yes, I had 2 negative reactions to psychiatric medications, Effexor and Lexapro, which both spun me out, but I took too high a dose. So it is a double-edged sword, psychiatric medications, you're absolutely right, but if nothing else is working, it's worth trying them. From this chat 20 minutes ago, that 50% of depression is genetic, does anyone have a reputable DNA test covering to recommend if it's genetic? Well, there's a gene that sounds like a curse word called MFTHR. It's in, just go scroll back. And yes, if you have that gene mutated, you're more likely to have depression. So there is a test. Just scroll back on here and you'll see the name of it. Never ever, I cannot believe you just sent me that money. You are a saint. You're already subscribed to my Patreon. Never ever just donated $50. True, 10 of that goes to Google, but thank you, thank you, thank you. That is amazingly generous of you for someone who likes to be alone, and you've just done a very socially positive thing. So wow. Yeah, what can I tell you? Send me an email. I'll do whatever I can to help you feel better. I know this is, it's in your family. I know you kind of like to be by yourself. And anyway, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're alive. Never give up. If anything feels desperate, email me or, leave a message on Patreon or, go call the crisis hotline wherever you live, because things can get better. Kate says, you rock Arcade Cup. Hey, Kate and Arcade Cup, why do you guys sound the same? David Tarkle says, Harry Edwards, I would never say never, but they can be hard to get off of if you can try the stuff first. Okay, so David Starkweather says, try the things before you try medication. So, I agree with him. I need to get this handout, a larger copy of for you guys. So if anybody emails me, I will send you a color copy of this handout. Once I find it, that is. You can see part of it. It says activities that support wellness right there. There's a circle with 5 little spokes coming out of it. Physical self-care, mental emotional self-care, spiritual connection, lifestyle habits, social support. These are all the things that you can do before you take medication. Send me an email. I've lost a piece of paper, but it's douglasblock@gmail.com. And I will go ahead and mail you a free copy of that diagram. Harry Edwards, how can I help my partner understand that my depression is not her fault? And that she can't really do anything to help me. When we go out, she says she can look in my eyes and see I'm miserable. Harry Edwards, email me. I will send you a chart that she called Best Things to Say to Someone Who's Depressed. She can say those to you that help you feel better. And just, go to any website about depression. It has nothing to do with her. Yeah, never ever. You are the philanthropist of the day. You know what a philanthropist is? It's someone who gives money to good causes, like Andrew Carnegie, like Bill Gates. So, no, never ever. Your generosity is, to be admired and to be emulated. So you've really impressed the people here, and they all are extremely thankful because, the money, that $50, I'll only get about 40 of it. What does that go? I have to pay somebody $50 to come over here tomorrow to shoot my new video. So you have just sponsored a brand new video. Matter of fact, I'm going to dedicate the video to you. Is that okay? I mean, if I say never ever, no one knows who you are. I don't even know what your real name is. So if it's okay with you, never ever, I'm going to, the video I'm going to record tomorrow, I'm going to say, this video could not have been made without the generous support of Never Ever, one of my live YouTube chat correspondents. So, and the 2 minutes and 20 seconds we have left on this live chat, please let me know if I can do that. I don't want to violate your confidentiality, but Never Ever obviously is a name, a YouTube name, and it's not your real name, so it seems like your confidentiality is protected. David Starkbrother says, Howard, feel grateful you have someone. Yes. Having someone by your side when you're depressed, wow. A lot of people, when they come through, they thank their partners or their parents or their children, somebody who helped them get through it. So you're very fortunate. Doug is a great help. Well, never ever. Thank you. As long as I'm alive, I will be doing this. So I'm turning 69. So let me see. My mother lived to be 140. My father 135. So what does that mean? I have 41 years left on this planet. A lot to look forward to. Of course, I'm telling a joke. But my father did live to be his 90s, so I'm hoping to make it another quarter century. That would be okay, never ever? Okay, so the name of the video is going to be called, I'll send you an email because I'll send you a message from Patreon, but the name of the video is going to be called How to Be Happy for the Rest of Your Life. That sounds like a crazy title, right? It is going to be seen on Monday, Monday the 5th of February, and I'm going to mention Never Ever at the beginning, and also I'm going to mention you on the description column below. So 2 places your name is going to be mentioned. So, hello, I'm Greg, 69. Well, I'm not 69 yet. I'm only 68. Now, if I were 64, you could always sing the Beatles song to me, right? Will you need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Well, we have 30 seconds left. Wow, that time goes fast when you're having fun. I'm not going to go ride today. It's too cold, but I'm going to go up on my elliptical because what's the word? Manage my mood. I manage my mood with medication. No, with exercise. Oh my God, who said that? Is Blake your name? Wow, well, thank you. I'm still going to say never ever, unless you want me to say Blake. Your call. Let me know now. It's an hour. We're about to end, or send me a message on Patreon. But let me know if you want me to use your name Blake or whether you want me to use the name Never Ever when I give you thanks publicly on my next video, which I will. So, the final saying from Greg. Anybody who wants to be in a cool new support group, email me. Hello, I'm Greg@email.com. Up to you. Well, I like to call you by your real name. I mean, that, you know, people can relate to that more, you know. By the way, there's a very funny video by Key and Peele about where it's called The Substitute Teacher, where the guy in the classroom doesn't know how to pronounce people's names and he calls Blake Balake. It's very funny. All right, so thanks to Blank who sponsored this video, and I'll put your name on the description column. So never ever make a note on your calendar on the 5th of February. This coming Monday, 5 days from now, the video will be posted, your name will be acknowledged, you will be acknowledged, and that's the least I can do for you. Is paroxetine good for depression and anxiety? I don't know what paroxetine is. If it's Paxil, yes. Meth will work once for depression, will make you a new man. Only thing is a new man wants more meth. Never ever, he was saying that as a joke. Yes, Sigmund Freud thought that cocaine was the cure for depression. He wrote a paper on it, but then he discovered what Isaac Newton learned many years ago. What goes up must come down. So yes, he was making a joke. Meth, cocaine, stimulants will get you high, but then you crash. So yeah, he was being silly, as my old friend Jackie Rothhoff used to say. Yes, but you know what? There's a grain of truth in what he said, never ever. I took a 2-year course in drug and alcohol counseling, and a lot of meth addicts who I met said the reason they turned to meth was for depression. It was an unskillful way to self-medicate. Self-medicate is the term. A lot of people self-medicate through meth, cocaine, alcohol, pot, you know, downers, uppers, you name it. So, yeah, I know. It was funny once you get the hang of it. So, David Starkweather, you have a good sense of humor. Never ever, you're the most generous person I've run into in a long time. Julie Hayes and everybody else here, you're amazingly wonderful people. Don't ever let anybody put you down because you're depressed. Depressed people are more courageous, more compassionate, more empathetic, and oftentimes brighter than other people. So you're all really cool. You're wonderful. Thank you for being here. I'll see you Sunday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. East Coast time, 2 p.m. Central time, 1 p.m. Mountain time, 8 p.m. UK time. And I'm probably in India. It's probably going to be somewhere between midnight and 1 a.m. Otherwise, until we meet again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Remember, you can continue this live chat right here on the chat panel here after I sign off. You'll be able to communicate with each other for the next couple of days. And who are the people who are going to hook up with each other and support each other in Ireland? Enda and Kevin McCourt. Please do that, or let me know at douglasblock@gmail.com if I can give out your addresses to each other. And where is that piece of paper? Here it is, right here. Kevin McCourt or Enda F, if you're on the air right now, email me, give me permission to give out your names or your email addresses, and I will definitely do that. Oscar Gonzalez asked one more question. How do you know when you're out of depression? Because on a good day, I feel like I have to figure out what I am. Does that sound right? Yeah. You're out of depression, Oscar Gonzalez, when you can go about 2 weeks without crashing. That's a good indication you're coming out of it. So, Kate says, David, you sound like you're off all medicine. Can you give me an answer that it might help my recovery? We'll do that off air. I'm going to see you guys on Sunday, and thanks so much for tuning in. I love all of you, and yeah.